This is the Holy Gospel according to the book of St. John, beginning in the 14th chapter. Philip said, "Lord, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us." Jesus answered, "Don't you know me, Philip, even after I have been among you such a long time? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Don't you believe that I am in the Father, and that the Father is in me? The words I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority. Rather, it is the Father living in me, who is doing his work. Believe me when I say that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. Or at least believe on the evidence of the works themselves. Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater than these works, because I am going to the Father. And I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. You may ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it. If you love me, keep my commands. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you. All this I have spoken while still with you. But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything that I have said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Pentecost Sunday. Today we celebrate the birthday of the church, essentially, the birthday of the Christian church. It's the day when the promised helper, the advocate, the Holy Spirit was given to the apostles. So keeping that in mind, there's a children's book that I want to share with you this morning. I'm not yet going to tell you the name of the book because the title of the book conveys the message of the book. So I'm going to have you hold on to that. But I will tell you the author is Sandy Eisenberg Sasso. And she happens to be the second woman ever to be ordained as a rabbi. That was in 1974. She's also the first rabbi to become a mother. Now, her and her husband co-led a very large Jewish synagogue community in Indianapolis for many years. And she has gone on to become an award-winning children's book author. So as the Christian celebration of Pentecost is intimately tied to the Jewish celebration of Shavuot, which is when the Jewish people gather to read and celebrate the book of Ruth, I thought that it seemed fitting to share with you this morning from the book of a Jewish rabbi. It's just like story time, isn't it? Here we go. And the story begins. Once there was a town at the foot of a hill with no roads and almost no windows. Without roads, the people of the town had nowhere to go, and they often wondered what was on the other side of the hill. Whenever they tried to leave their homes, they would sneeze through the tall
tangled weeds. They would tumble into deep holes, and they would trip over rocks as large as watermelons. Without windows, they would sleep late into the day, and they often wondered when the sun turned night into morning. Their houses were closed up like boxes sealed with tape. They could never look out, and their neighbors could never look in. Well, the people became tired of sneezing through tall weeds, tumbling into deep holes, and tripping over rocks as large as watermelons, and of seeing nothing, and of going nowhere. So they made their way to the center of town to decide what to do. One townsperson spoke up and said, "I have heard there is a God, and when people find this God, he solves all their problems." "Well, let us then find God," someone shouted from the crowd, "and God will build windows and roads for us." Others thought this to be preposterous and ridiculous. People just pretend there is a God. If God were real, he would find us. Yet, the people could not see any other way to fix their town, so they decided to look for God. But there was one problem. Without roads, the people could not go anywhere, least of all, searching for God. So they looked towards the edge of town where two old houses stood, each with a single window. They called the man and the woman who lived in these houses the ones who could see out windows. If they can see out the windows, reasoned the people, perhaps they can see a way to God. So the people of the town sent the ones who could see out windows to search for God. The ones who could see out windows thought that God must be on the other side of the hill, somewhere they had not yet been. So they wove their way through the tangled weeds, around the deep holes, and beyond the large rocks to find God. When they disappeared beyond the hill, some people thought they could never return. Now the woman who could see out windows, she went to a tall mountain. The climb was steep, and when she finally reached the mountain's peak, her body shivered from the cold, and she was breathless. She gazed up at the sky, and she tried to tug on one of the clouds. She looked down to the ground and watched the earth spin in a dizzying dance, but she did not see God. Then the woman who could see out windows thought that God might be in the deep waters that covered so much of the earth. So she set sail on a ship that went far out into the ocean. One day, the sea waters turned from placid blue to angry foam. The storm stirred up the depths, and the ship tossed and turned on the waves. The woman imagined what it would be like to tumble around in the belly of a big fish. But as the ship swayed back and forth, she felt as if she had a whole school of fish swimming in her own belly. The woman could no longer seek for God on the ocean. She could only search on dry land. Now, meanwhile, the man who could see out windows traveled to the desert. He listened for God in the desert winds, and he looked for God in the sands. The sun burned his skin, and the hot ground made blisters on his feet, but he did not find God. Then the man thought he might find God in the cool quiet of a cave. He searched in the dark for God, and he listened for God in the silence. At first, the cave's wet walls soothed his sunburned skin. But then the black shade turned to thick ink, and he imagined scary sounds. The man became very lonely in the cave, and he did not see God. Now the ones who could see out windows were tired, and they decided to stop looking for God. Each hoped the other had been successful on the journey. But when they met, the woman saw the man's drooping shoulders, and the man saw the woman's sad eyes, and they knew that neither had found God. The woman put her cool hand on the sunburned arm of the man, and the man wrapped his blanket around the woman. It was a dark, moonless night, and the ones who could see out windows could see nothing but each other. In soft, small voices, they talked long into the evening. They told each other their stories. When dawn lightened the sky, the man said, "It's time to go home." And the woman agreed. Now one of the townspeople was sneezing through the tangled weeds when he saw the ones who could not see out windows approaching the town. He called to the others, and they all came, sneezing through the tall weeds, tumbling into deep holes, and tripping over large rocks to greet the man and the woman. "Tell us," they shouted, "where is God?" The woman who could see out windows told her story, and she said, "I climbed a tall mountain. I traveled on the waters that cover our earth, but alas, I did not find God." The man who could see out windows told his story. "I walked across the desert sands that spread like a hot white fire over the land. I sat alone in a cave. Others have sought God in these places, but I did not find God there." The people called out, "We were right all along. There is no God." The townspeople voices became louder and louder, and they were so busy complaining about all the problems in their windowless, roadless town that they forgot completely about the ones who could see out windows, and they forgot about God. Days passed, and everything was the same in the windowless, roadless town, except for one thing. Now the ones who could see out windows helped each other, and they put windows in every room of their house. Then the man and the woman cut the weeds, filled the holes, and cleared the rocks to build a road between their houses. The townspeople were stunned. "We've never been able to have any roads in this town, and we've never seen so many windows. How did you do that?" "Well, with God's help," answered the ones who could see out windows. "But wait, you told us you had gone to the mountains and to the seas, to the desert and to the cave, and there was no God." "We journeyed hundreds of miles looking for God, and then we found each other," said the woman. "And we discovered God was with us," added the man. "With you? You mean right here?" puzzled the townspeople. "Right here at home, in our town." "Wherever we are," answered the woman who could see out windows. "What about what lies beyond the hill? What about the mountains, the sea, the desert, and the cave?" asked the townswoman. "Well, wherever we are," said the man who could see out windows. "But I can't see God anywhere," insisted one of the men of the town. "I just see you. If God is here, show us where." The ones who could see out windows spoke in a whisper. The townspeople gathered in close to listen. The setting sun blushed the sky a deep red, and the breathless silence embraced the town. "God is in the between," said the ones who could see out windows. "In the between. In between us." Now, in a story told at the end of the first century, we hear a befuddled disciple, Philip, plead, "Show us the Father, and we will be satisfied." Jesus replied, "I have been with you all this time, Philip, and still you don't know me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me?" My friends, in many various ways, storytellers have been trying to tell us where God is, but for some reason we can't seem to believe it. It is as if we want God to be out there, up there, somewhere off in the distance, somewhere exotic, somewhere just out of our reach. We find that it's difficult to locate him. We can't understand it. We can't comprehend it. We cannot help imagining that the creator of the cosmos must be some difficult secret that is beyond our grasp. So we dust off our ancient rituals,
We sing in ancient dead languages. We recite our secret incantations, known only to those who can see through the windows of time. And the response from God is always the same. He simply replies to us, I am. I am. I am. Just breathe. The source of all that is, the very breath we breathe, the Spirit of the divine is breath and spirit. The sacred, the holy, the divine, the love that we call God, the one who is. Beloved, love itself, the great I am, Yahweh, is here. He is with us. He is through us. He is beyond us. In the between. In between us. All we have to do is breathe. Whoever has seen us has seen God. We are in God. God is in us. Breathe. God is here. God is you. God is me. God is in between. Amen.